morning. I actually wanted to talk about how sometimes just a quick little reminder review, is way better than letting things get kind of unraveled. Because often all you have to do is do like a quick little, hey, remember we don't do it that way. And you can get your horse to say, oh yeah, that's right, we do it this way. And then you kind of can fix it. So here's an example. My horse, Teddy, he's a Clydesdale. He's about 18 hands. And he wants to help you put his halter on. And sometimes he thinks if he's like right up in your face, it's helpful. He puts his nose. Now, unfortunately for him, I have a collapsed nose halter. It's like a rope nose band, so it doesn't stay in its shape like some nylon halters do, where you could just slide it up over their nose. You have to kind of like maneuver this one. And he thinks he's helping by, just constantly poking around, trying to, and if you can hear me at 5, 6 o'clock at night, you hear me going, "You're not helping!" Well, what kind of that has caused, it started to teach him to stop trying to help. Now, he still tries to help, but he stopped trying to help with his head down like I taught him originally when he was a baby, because I knew he was going to get huge, and I can't risk somebody little trying to get a halter on him and him holding his head 18 hands high. So I taught him to put his head down when you go to put a halter on him. Well, because he was giving me such a hard time trying, he was trying, that's the thing, he was trying, but it was frustrating, and it's my fault because of the halter I have, but I can't get his busyness to cooperate with me. Over time, that brought his head up to his knees, then over time it brought his head up to his chest, and then most recently, his head's been kind of up my chin level. Well, once I navigated onto his nose, his ears are way too high. I can't get the rest of the halter on, and then I find I actually almost stick a finger in his ear, not on purpose, it's just kind of how that angle gets me. And then he panics that I stuck my finger in his ear and shakes his head, and then we got to start all over again. So last night, I decided that it's enough. Everything went haywire. I don't want to go get his old halter, which is a big, heavy, draft leather halter. I like his little soft, easy rope hybrid halter that he has. So we're going to make this work. So last night, I told him to put his head down, and he resisted. And I was like, okay. So I showed it to him again, and he said, oh, yeah, I remember that. I said, yeah, so that's how we have to do this. And I asked him to put his head down like 3 times. And that was review, right? Put his head down. Just put my hand on the top of his pole, ask him to lower his head to his nose is almost on the ground. That's where I need your head for me to do this, and we could get along better. And it's not like we weren't getting along, but it's like that was a frustrating part of that moment with us. He was trying. I just wanted to get a job done. It wasn't working. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He was trying to help. But over the course of it not working, I basically taught him, your head on the ground isn't what I want. So last night we had this little review, and like I said, 3 times. Head down, head down, head down. 3 times, cooperated, was like, oh yeah, I know that one. I loved this morning that I went in, I approached him with his halter, and he already had his head on the ground. And just was hovering it on the ground. Like, I'm doing it. Right, Mommy? This is what you wanted, right? I remember. I love when they try that hard. Because in that particular moment, I saw how much heart he had. It's like a little kid making Mommy breakfast in bed. Even if it's not done right, the heart that was put into that effort, the proud of themselves moment. He put in so much effort to be a good boy that you can't help but just recognize how much heart he had in that. And I really, like, if I could help people just see how genuinely honest these animals are, I would feel so accomplished. I don't care if I ever teach you how to work your horse at liberty or ride bridleless or anything like that. If I could teach you to be sensitive to your horse's efforts, to be sensitive to your horse's tries, to learn how to feel for your horse's tries, and to realize how much they do, and then also genuinely feel it in your own heart. His effort was so pure. So pure. He wanted to do a good job. He wanted to show me he remembered what he learned yesterday or was reminded of. That's when, for me, it adds new beats to my heart about my relationships with my horses and about my love for the animal overall. Because Teddy and I, we would have those evenings where I'd be like, come on, you're not helping, right? You know, I just want to get it done. And that's usually the biggest pitfall to most horse management situations anyway, is people who are just trying to get it done. They're not recognizing that they're trying to get it done with another living being, another feeling creature that maybe doesn't understand your agenda, maybe doesn't understand your schedule, maybe doesn't understand that you're running late. But to take the time and say, hey, this hasn't been working out. You know, it was like almost like a little counseling session. Hey, this hasn't been working out the way we've been doing it. We need to go back to doing it the way I taught you. So if you don't remember, here, let me remind you. And then the next morning have him be like, I remember I'm doing good, right? It just warms my heart more than you could ever imagine.